Imagine you're halfway through a workout. You're exhausted, every muscle screams for relief, and that voice in your head starts whispering, "Just give up, it's too much." But then something changes. That little voice grows louder, more persuasive, until finally you slam the weights down, wipe your hands, and walk away. It's over. You've failed, but it doesn't feel like a momentary loss. It feels like a complete collapse, a mental giving up that wasn't planned. Something in your brain just snapped. Now picture this. You're sitting at your desk, eyes glued to your work, your goals within reach, but then nothing. Your focus slips, your motivation vanishes, and just like that, you stop. You abandon your task with the smallest of excuses, like a switch flicking in your mind. What happened? Why does the human mind break like this? Why does the sheer weight of a moment cause us to shut down and throw in the towel, even when we've invested so much? The phenomenon is more than just laziness. It's a psychological condition, a mechanism within our brain that we all experience at some point. The what the hell effect. But what is it exactly? How does it shift the course of our behavior? And why is it so hard to escape once we're trapped in its grip? Let's dive into the dark recesses of our minds and uncover the science behind this dangerous cognitive slip. The disturbing history. The term "what the hell" effect wasn't coined by psychologists sitting in a quiet lab. No, its origins stem from something far darker. It was discovered by a study of self-control, one that focused on dieting and binge-eating behaviors. The experiment looked at how a single lapse in self-discipline could spiral into complete destruction. The "what the hell" effect occurs when an individual makes one small mistake, like breaking their diet, and suddenly feels it's all over. From there, instead of picking up where they left off, they abandon the goal entirely. The "what the hell" moment, the snap decision to give up, is triggered by one perceived failure. The researchers who discovered this were baffled by the sharp contrast between a person's initial motivation and their sudden resignation. How could someone go from motivated and determined to completely self-sabotaging in a split second? The answer lies deep in the wiring of our brains, in a system that evolved to protect us but now, in the modern world, often betrays us. These findings were crucial, as they revealed how a momentary lapse could lead to a cascading pattern of self-doubt and irrational decision-making. The process wasn't simply about the failure itself. It was about how the brain reinterprets that failure, using it as a trigger to justify quitting altogether, even when doing so is counterproductive. This self-destructive loop, once activated, creates a cycle that's incredibly hard to break free from, as each new failure seems to confirm the mind's justification to quit completely. The scientific explanation and symptoms. The brain operates with a complex balancing act between short-term desires and long-term goals. When you're pursuing something significant, like fitness or an academic achievement, your brain activates motivation centers, pushing you forward with a sense of achievement as you make progress. However, when that progress hits a roadblock, a bad meal on a diet, a missed workout, or an unsatisfactory test result, your brain experiences a form of cognitive dissonance. The disconnect between where you are and where you want to be creates an emotional response. The "what the hell" effect is born from this feeling of failure. Instead of using a mistake as motivation to try harder, the brain releases stress chemicals like cortisol, which intensify the negative emotions. To cope, your mind shifts into a nothing matters mode. This is when the subconscious thought emerges. What the hell, I've already ruined it. Why not just quit altogether? What makes this so dangerous is how it hijacks our ability to rebound. The failure sets off a cascade effect, triggering more self-doubt and emotional distress, which often leads to more failures. It's a vicious cycle where the brain decides that complete disengagement is easier than dealing with the stress of a perceived failure. The more we fail to course correct, the more our mind sees giving up as the path of least resistance. And this, over time, erodes any ability to muster the strength to try again, leaving us paralyzed in our defeat. The deeper we fall into this mindset, the harder it becomes to rise above, often leading us to abandon our goals completely, even when the path forward is still clear. A famous real-world case study. Let's take a look at one of the most infamous examples of this cognitive collapse, the case of a well-known corporate executive. This individual, highly driven and disciplined, was an athlete, a marathon runner. But despite years of training, one day a small setback, a poor performance in a race, completely shattered their confidence. They weren't just disappointed, they gave up. They abandoned not only their running goals but also their strict fitness routine, their diet, and any semblance of healthy living. They entered into a downward spiral of failure that lasted for months. This didn't happen because they were lazy or weak. This happened because their brain processed the mistake as an irreversible failure, triggering the what the hell effect. And just like many of us do, they let it snowball. Instead of correcting the course, they took the mental route of self-sabotage. This is the what the hell effect in action. It doesn't matter if you've been working towards your goals for years. One small slip can send everything crashing down. The brain goes into damage control, and in doing so, it abandons its most powerful tool, self-compassion. We are left with an overwhelming urge to disengage, to erase the failure by giving up entirely. The overwhelming shame and self-blame cloud our judgment, and we become blind to the possibility of redemption or recovery. It's a cruel trap that, if not identified, can unravel everything we've worked so hard to build. The longer we allow ourselves to sink into this mental collapse, the harder it becomes to regain the willpower to stand back up. The twist in application. Now, you might not be experiencing a major setback right now, but have you ever faced a situation where after one tiny mistake you threw in the towel? Maybe you're working on a project and something goes wrong, and before you know it, you're ready to give up, to walk away. The what the hell effect doesn't just apply to dieting or fitness. It's in everything. Relationships, career ambitions, even the way we view our own potential. You don't have to be an executive or a marathon runner to feel this. It can happen in any area of life. And the worst part? You might not even realize it's happening until it's too late. The next time you make a mistake, remember, it's not the mistake itself that will undo you. It's how you allow your brain to process that mistake. It's not just about avoiding giving up. It's about recognizing the moment your mind tries to tell you that it's all over. When that moment hits, you have to choose not to let the spiral begin. It's about finding the strength to reject the what the hell effect and take the next step forward, no matter how small. What would happen if we could rewire this response to stop seeing failure as the end? Would we be able to break free from this automatic collapse and create more resilient versions of ourselves? Could we live without the looming specter of the what the hell effect, and instead face each failure as just another opportunity to try again? And that is why you need to watch the next videos.